I've never been in a place like this. I've never seen anything like this. Hey everyone! Today in this video, I'm going to chat to you about the things that have surprised me the most in spending some time in Ho Chi Minh City. I've been here a couple of weeks, but had never visited Vietnam before. So I'm going to talk to you about the 15 things, I guess, that have surprised me the most, or the most interesting things I've come across since being in the city. So I hope you enjoy. So I knew that I liked Vietnamese coffee. There'd been a few places I've come across in Sydney or around the world that have sold it and knew it was amazing, knew it had some condensed milk in it, but I've been surprised by the sheer volume of coffee shops around the city. Every block you walk down in Ho Chi Minh City, it feels like you walk past multiple coffee shops, which is incredible. There's some really beautiful aesthetic ones, and then there's just sort of side of the road cart places you can get a coffee. Plus, every lunch place, every dinner place you go to has a coffee option. And the quality, the taste of every single coffee I've had here has been amazing. I am leaving Ho Chi Minh with definitely more of a caffeine addiction than I had beforehand. But yeah, the amount of coffee shops and how delicious the coffee is here has been quite a surprise. This is a weird one, but it has to be on the list. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but there's a lot of poultry, as in like live chickens and ducks wandering around the city. It's mostly around the area that I'm staying in, which is District 1. And the first time I saw a bunch of roosters on the side of the road, I was kind of confused. And then it's happening more and more. And so yeah, it has to make the list. Definitely more roosters and ducks than I expected to be walking around the city. If you know why, please let me know below. I've Googled it to no avail. I don't know if they're food, if they're pets, if they're for some sort of luck, or something, if there's something bigger to the whole rooster thing. But yeah, the amount of poultry here, in not the sort of food sense, has been quite a surprise. And it's definitely interesting being in the middle of quite a built up city and waking up to roosters crowing. Very unique experience. Something incredible about this city that I did not expect is just how varied it is. I'd seen some photos of Ho Chi Minh with, you know, the big built up skyline, lots of lights, and then also these sort of alleyways, and I didn't know how that would all sort of fit together in a city. It's incredible and so unique that you can walk up a little alley that's full of, you know, street food and carts and markets and dogs around and roosters around and things like that. And then you turn a corner and there's a massive glass skyscraper and you're in like a financial district or quite a built up area. And then you walk around the corner again and you're in a park and it's green and it's gorgeous. No matter what you're looking for in a city, I feel like you can find it in Ho Chi Minh. You just have to find the right area of the city. But how varied and diverse and fascinating this place is has both surprised and really excited me because there's so much to explore here. Being here and dealing with the money has been quite surprisingly interesting. Lots of zeros on all of the money. The smallest denomination that I've seen at least is the 1,000 dong, and they go all the way up to 500,000 is the biggest. The other surprise is that there's no coins. So here's like a 500,000 and then 1,000 and everything in between. So it gets kind of confusing when something's 10,000 versus 100,000, and I'm definitely still making mistakes with the currency. Apparently they phased out coins in 2003, which is pretty interesting. One of the very few countries without coins. So there's a fun fact and something that surprised me to learn. I was pretty surprised to see the amount of people in Vietnam that are still smokers. Smoking on the streets is pretty common. You sometimes even see people smoking in some cafes. So definitely a lot more than I've seen in some other countries. What was also surprising is how you buy them. So I think it's pretty common to buy cigarettes at like convenience stores or supermarkets. But here there's a lot of like street vendors that sell them, often in briefcase sorts of things, or the people with the carts that sell coffees often sell cigarettes as well. So just the amount of places when you walk down the street in any block you're likely to pass, like between 3 and 5 different stalls that you can buy cigarettes from, and very cheap, like between like 30 to 40,000 dong for a pack of 20, which is unheard of being Australian, where cigarettes are very expensive. So the amount of places you can buy cigarettes, the number of smokers, and the price of them, I think has been quite surprising to me. When you tell people you're going to Vietnam, one of the things that people will tell you is how crazy it is to cross the roads. That is so true. After spending a bit of time in Thailand earlier last year, I thought I was prepared for Southeast Asian roads, but Vietnam is next level. The number of motorbikes is incredible. So the roads are loud, a lot of people are beeping. They do it more just to let people around them know that they're there rather than in an aggressive way as you kind of get in some cities. So how loud, how busy, and how crowded the roads are, even for someone who was expecting it, I'm still surprised by the extent of which that's true. Given that the roads are so crazy, I've also been pretty surprised by how a lot of the footpaths aren't really fit for walking. While it's still broadly a walkable city, and it's not too bad, the footpaths can be used for so many things. So often they're bike parking, they could be seating for restaurants, it could be places just to stand around with a bunch of mates and have a catch up. It could be a place to like cook up some food, whether you're a restaurant or just outside your house. Place for security guards just to sit and chat. The perfect place to just like stand outside and have a cigarette. A place to sell all types of things. So footpaths are often used for many, many, many things other than walking, which means you sort of have to get comfortable with walking pretty close to bikes and traffic through here. So that's been surprising. And I guess I haven't seen any accidents yet. I'm still surprised it's been weeks and not a single incident, so it's clearly working. A pleasant surprise is just how cheap and accessible it is to get a massage. I love getting massages, and again, after being in Thailand, I was pleasantly surprised by the prices of massages, but here they are cheaper and they are exceptional. There's particular blocks where there is just rows and rows of massage shops, but everywhere across Ho Chi Minh City where I've been, there's no lack of massage places. And for 200,000, 250,000 dong, you get an hour massage and it will be absolutely life-changing. So I've been getting massages, getting my hair washed, getting absolutely pampered, because the beauty industry here is amazing and it's great to take advantage of it. So it's definitely the place to come and relax. I was really surprised to learn that Vietnam has the lowest rates of obesity in the entire world, and by a pretty significant margin. So I was curious to see how this sort of came to life in the city. In Ho Chi Minh City, the food is so healthy and so tasty. There's not a huge amount of fast food, and when you buy it, it's in sort of smaller portions. But a lot of the Vietnamese foods are really high in vegetable content, relatively low in fat, and reasonable portion sizes. So it's really refreshing to come here and have lots of really healthy, amazing food options. I'm also vegetarian, as a note, and the vegetarian food here, I think, may be the best in the entire world. Feel free to check out my other video if you're curious for more details on that. But the food, how healthy it is and how amazing it is, has really surprised me. I did not expect it to be so amazing. This city is so vibrant and colorful and beautiful. Every single street that I've walked up in Ho Chi Minh City has flags hung up the sides of the streets. So both the communist hammer and sickle and the Vietnamese flag are everywhere, which is amazing, like the national pride. You're always reminded that you're in Vietnam, which is beautiful. And then lots of other colorful flags hanging around and signs and flowers, and it's the vibrance of the city from a color perspective really matches the vibrancy and the energy of the people in the city itself. It's just a beautiful place to be, and the energy of Ho Chi Minh City has really surprised me. I've never been in a place like this. I've never seen anything like this. So it's been an awesome experience. The city's a lot more green than I expected for it to be, especially given that it is such a big city. There is so many parks scattered around, which is amazing, with little public benches and places to sit, a lot of community spaces, which is so nice and not something that you get in every city. And then down all of the streets as well, there's lots of trees and greenery and foliage. So it's really amazing that it is such a big, dense city, but it doesn't feel claustrophobic. It still feels quite light and spacious and airy. So yeah, it's been quite a surprise for a big Southeast Asian city to be so green. And one of the benefits of this is that there's little tiny birds all over the city, small finches, I think they're finches, you see on the streets and in the trees and in the park. Speaking of birds, something I've been surprised by is how cheap it has been here. The food is, as I've said, incredible, but really, really cheap. For between 30 and 50,000 dong, you can get life-changing food, drinks are really cheap as well. It's a very cheap place to live as a foreigner, kind of spending time here. And that's been quite a surprise, just at how great food and drinks are and how affordable they are. I've traveled to a few places recently and I've been surprised at how difficult the Vietnamese language is. While I only speak English natively, I've tried to learn quite a few languages recently, and I think Vietnamese is the hardest. Even when you chat to Vietnamese people, they even say that they struggle with the Vietnamese language at times. It's super tonal, there's 6 tones. There's also apparently 14 vowel nuclei from what I read. So difficult. You feel like you're kind of getting it, and then you realize there's words that sound very similar that mean very different things, and I don't exactly know what I've said some of the time to people, but I have been surprised at how hard it is. However, a lot of people do speak English, or at least basic English, or enough to sort of get around. So while it's challenging, it hasn't been a particular struggle, at least in Ho Chi Minh City. So that has been a relief. I've been able to eat and communicate where I need to. And the final thing is just how lovely the people are. I did expect the Vietnamese people to be really lovely. You do hear that, but it's amazing. If I go for a walk in the morning to get a coffee or just wandering around the city, people are always saying hello. There's always people on bikes willing to have a chat, asking you where you're from. It's been really pleasant. And then even service workers, if they don't understand English, and obviously I don't speak enough Vietnamese, everyone wants to help you, and everyone really tries their best to be friendly and welcoming. So I really appreciated that, and it has been a surprise just to the extent in which people are super friendly. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed hearing all about Ho Chi Minh City and all of the things that have surprised and pleased me about being here. I would definitely recommend a visit here. It's been an absolute dream to spend time in this amazing city, and I will definitely be back. I know I'm gonna miss it when I leave. If you've liked this video, please like below and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos. I've got a few below on Vietnam and some of the other places I've been to as well. Thank you guys again so much, and I'll see you next time.